Hi everyone, welcome to Cardiologist. In this video, we will draw together this pattern. Before you continue with this tutorial, I hope you subscribe to the channel and click on the alert button to receive my latest. When you open AutoCAD, start a new drawing. Turn the drawing grid off. Click on this arrow of OSnap and check Endpoint, Midpoint, Geometric Center, and Intersection. Click on F8 to activate Ortho Mode and F12 to activate Dynamic Input. Type units in the command line and make sure drawing units type is decimal, precision is 0, draw units is millimeter. Type L8 to open Layer Properties Manager and create a layer named Pattern. Create another layer and name it Viewports. Click on the plot sign to make it unprintable. Double-click the pattern layer to set it as the current layer, then close Layer Properties Manager. Draw a rectangle 600 by 60 mm. Click on this arrow of polar tracking and check 45 degrees. Activate X-line from Draw Panel. Snap this endpoint mark and move the cursor upward to snap a point along the 45 degrees path. Activate Back Ortho Mode. Select the X-line and activate Mirror command from Modify Panel. Snap this geometric center mark and any point along this path. Click on space for no and to in the command. Copy the rectangle to the right 70 mm and 140 mm. Click on this arrow of hatch tool and choose boundary. Pick a point here, here, and here. Then click on space to end the command. Cross-select these rectangles to delete them. Select this X-line and activate Offset command from Modify Panel. Specify offset distance 10 mm and click somewhere here. Offset this X-line 60 mm in this direction and delete this one. Draw a vertical X-line at this endpoint mark. Select this X-line and move it from this point to place it at this endpoint mark. Activate boundary creation through the shortcut BO and pick a point somewhere here. We need to temporarily change the coordinate system angle of the XY plane. Type UCS, the shortcut for User Coordinate System, and hit space. Click on this intersection mark to specify the UCS origin. Click on this midpoint mark for the X-axis direction and on this mark for the Y-axis direction. Select both X-lines and move them 70 mm in this direction. Move this X-line 30 mm upward. Then copy it 60 mm downward. Activate boundary creation and pick a point somewhere here. Then delete these two X-lines. Offset this rectangle through the shortcut OF 10 mm outward. Activate boundary creation and pick a point in this space. Delete this rectangle and move this X-line 10 mm in this direction. Offset the X-line 55 mm. And draw one X-line from this midpoint mark and in this direction. And make an offset of 55 mm in this direction. Activate boundary creation. Pick a point somewhere here. Then delete all X-lines. Type UCS and click on Word in order to go back to the default coordination system orientation. Select these rectangles and mirror around this midpoint mark. Activate Trim tool from Modify panel. Click on Space. Then trim this line and this line. Select this object, put the cursor over this point or vertex, and click on Remove Vertex from the menu. Select this object too, and type J to join both segments into one. Activate Offset command through the shortcut OF. Specify offset distance 10 mm and offset these objects. Then offset this shape 55 mm. Activate boundary creation and pick a point here, then delete these items. Now offset this shape 10 mm, then 60 mm. Copy this rectangle from this endpoint mark to this endpoint mark. Draw an X line here, then offset it 50 mm and 10 mm. Use boundary creation command to create a rectangle here. Select the rectangle and this X line and do a horizontal mirror around this point. Again, through boundary creation, create this shape. Then delete all these lines and objects. Windows select all objects and do a vertical mirror around this point. Follow me to make an offset of 10 mm of these shapes. Then use boundary creation to create this rectangle here. And delete these objects. Windows select these objects and do a horizontal mirror around this point. Again, follow me to make an offset of 10 mm for these shapes. Then use boundary creation to create this shape here. And delete these objects. Mirror these objects around this geometric center mark to this side. Cross-select these shapes and do a horizontal mirror around this geometric center mark. Patterns are usually printed through CNC machines on steel or wood sheets of size 244 by 122 cm. So draw a rectangle somewhere here 2440 by 1220 mm. Make an offset of 40 mm inward and 10 mm inward too. Select the drawing and move it from this midpoint mark to this midpoint mark. Select this rectangle and activate Trim tool. Follow me to trim, then delete all objects outside the rectangle. Activate Trim command again. Click on Space in order for AutoCAD to assume all objects in the drawing area selected. And follow me trimming and shaping all the objects at both sides of the sheet. Delete unnecessary lines. Then select all drawing and type J for join. Select the pattern again, then vertically mirror around this midpoint mark to end the drawing. Select the pattern and type OVER to activate Overkill command in order to delete any duplicate lines or objects. Make sure to check Optimize segments within polylines and maintain associative objects. Then click OK. Close to the command line, you can see how many objects in the drawing and the number of deleted duplicates if there was any. Finally, select the Hatch tool from Draw panel. Check Solid Pattern. Change the hatch color. Increase hatch transparency to 25. And select the pattern in this manner. Go to Layout Sheet. Select the existing viewport and delete it. Right-click Layout 1 and rename it to Pattern 02. Right-click Pattern 02 and go to Page Setup Manager. Click on Modify. Change the printer name to DWG to PDF. Make sure Paper Size ISO Full Bleed A4 is selected. Check Scale Line Weights and Plot Transparency. And make sure Landscape Orientation is selected. Then click OK and Close. Type Viewport and click on Space. Choose Single and click OK. Click on Space again for Fit. Select the viewport and go to Properties, which can be accessed through the shortcut Ctrl+1. Then change its layer to Viewports. I will insert the title block used in the previous tutorial. Open Pattern Drawing Tutorial 1 to copy the title block from there. Select the title block and its content. Type CO and select Copy Base. Click on this endpoint mark and go back to the pattern drawing. Click on Ctrl+V for Paste command and place the title block at this endpoint mark. Select the viewport and adjust the boundaries to be inside the title block. Click on the scale from the status bar and check Scale to Fit. And lock the viewport. If you can't find your logo in the title block, activate XREF command. Double-click the logo status, locate your logo, and click on Open. Change the drawing title to AutoCAD Pattern Drawing Tutorial 02. Change the scale, date, and the drawing number to YT-CAD-APT-02. Click on Ctrl+P to open plot setting. Click on Preview to check out the drawing before printing. Click on Print. Choose a folder. Type the file name and click on Save. Alright, here is our pattern drawing. Remember to subscribe to the channel and click on the alert button to stay updated.